Good evening, guys. Let's see who we got here in the house. Hey, Freeman James. Welcome to my stream. Albert's TV, Vicky, welcome. Rosie McLife, welcome, my friend. Good to see you. And I believe the rest will pop in, I guess. So, this stream will be a little bit longer than I usually do because I have time for it. And it's good to see you. And oh, there it is. Oh, Mona, welcome. And Die Bullfrog 79. Good to see you, Uncle Al. How are you doing? And Andy K. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. I will put up the link. For those who feel they would come up on my panel, Nelia and David, welcome. Thanks, Uncle Al. Hey, Sonny, welcome. If anyone feel up for it, please click the link and join the panel. Lee Ralph, it's good to see you again, buddy. Long time no see. And I'm happy to have you here also, Sonny. That is okay. Good, that is okay with you, Uncle Al. It's nice to see you too, Nelia. Yeah, I gave you 2 minutes, Andy. That's no problem. How are you doing, Lee? Fellow bloggers, good to see you again. Welcome, my friend. The Real Love Festival Survival. Welcome, buddy. And good evening. So, how is everyone doing? I hope everything is okay with you guys. Well, you need to do that also, Ralph. Well, I'm doing pretty good. It's good to see you, Andy.
Hello, Joran. That's all right. I thought my sound had died completely. I was back on the YouTube page muting it.
Yeah.
How you doing, mate?
I'm doing pretty good.
Looking forward to your little survival trip?
Yeah, I live.
Where the first test is surviving the flight?
I have fly before, but I
You don't
didn't
like
feel
it?
well. No, I didn't feel well.
Yeah, I can understand that. I get like that on ships. And then when you get on the floor and you're still sort of doing this and waving about, and what you want is a nice thunderstorm. Uncle Al.
Hey, Uncle Al. Good to see you,
Hey,
buddy. It's good to see you, Uncle Al.
I finally got it working.
That is good, Uncle Al.
That's
It's
what I
good
said
to
to my
have you
wife.
here.
Oh boy.
Oh, boy. Well, it's good to see you, Uncle Al, and talk to you in person for a change.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Hi, Andy. Hi, Jordan.
Hello, mate. How are you? I speak English. If there's something you don't understand, just ask. It's not as sarcastic as it sounds either, because a lot of Americans are like, "What did you say?" And then you get the other ones that say, "Oh my God, he didn't just say that, did he?"
Uh,
Mary's vlog. Welcome. Good to see you again.
Oh, I missed that one.
Ah, much better.
I like it once everybody's in and settled down.
Yeah, exactly. I'll value the fun. Welcome. Good to see you.
Come one, come all.
yep. How's the Brexit thing going on over there, Andy?
How's the what?
Brexit?
Oh,
Brexit.
sideways. It's an embarrassment. The whole country had a vote. Yeah. 52% said out of the two choices of stay or go, we want to go. Of which the politicians gave the vote to the nation. But for some reason, they just cannot follow what the nation said. It's, we've got to have a deal. We haven't got to have a deal. We've got to have a deal. We haven't got to have one. At the end of the day, we weren't given any options about deals. Hang on. Hi, Dave.
Welcome, Jordan.
It's an embarrassment, and I'm praying like mad that we had the deadline of the end of March. What happened? It got postponed to the end of October. I'm hoping when the end of October comes, the EU stands up and says, sorry, you can't make your mind up, but your people have spoken. Goodbye.
Tenchi Sonia. Welcome. Beastly Ironworks. Welcome.
I don't know what you mean, Dave. I can take it off if the money's right.
I believe that will be a pretty hard Brexit. You will end probably hard, more
No,
like a
not
crash.
really. Britain became great when there was no Europe. Or EU, sorry, Europe's always been there. Britain became great when there was no EU. We recovered after the Second World War to the best we've been in God knows how long. And personally, I think, yeah, we might have a hard time to start with, but we'll come back bigger and better than ever.
We can hope so.
Hi, Geordie.
Yeah.
Hey, Rosie.
I'm doing pretty good, Jordan. Oh, man.
See, the thing everybody forgets about the EU was within the first 3 months of 1991, when those borders supposedly went down, there was 1 million people throughout Europe suddenly made unemployed because their jobs no longer existed. Now, from my point of view, I live in a little seaside village that's also a port. I would personally love to see us come out of the EU and have those jobs returned to our place. Our politicians are a bunch of pussyfooting retards. I've got a shorter word and that begins with C. Our politicians are an embarrassment. They forget that they were voted into office to represent their local peoples. They seem to believe that once they're voted into office, they're put there to rule over us like some dictator. What we need is a nice little Fourth Amendment like America's got.
And I believe EU.
That's right, Lee. 100% right.
Bribe the other EU countries to keep them in EU.
Yeah, but it's all propaganda. I've got no TV, I've got no newspapers, magazines, radio, any of that shit, because I know bad stuff happens in the world. I just don't need reminding of it every minute of every day. So one of my friends phones me up. He says, oh, the Welsh sheep farmers are going to get stung with loads of extra duties on the export of their sheep to Europe. I said, that's rubbish. That's utter rubbish. When you buy something from abroad, the importer pays the duties, not the exporter.
So what is your opinion about this, Uncle Al? What is your opinion about this, Uncle Al?
Well, I got a little delay, but I hear it pretty good, Jordan. You want to trade politicians? We got a whole bunch of Democrats giving us the same problem. But yeah, I understand what's Britain because I used to live there. And it just drives you nuts because these politicians have certain events they got to follow through and they don't listen to us.
No, they don't give two monkeys about the people, except when it comes to voting. And then they want to be your best friend for 5 seconds.
Yeah, EU is, in my opinion, not a good thing. Not for my country, anyway.
No, Norway did the right thing when they had their referendum before the actual date of 1st of January 91, where the EU was formed, shall we say.
Yeah.
They had a referendum and they voted to stay out, but maintain the trade-in things that they had at the time. Britain didn't get that vote.
No.
I don't know about Sweden, Denmark, Germany, Holland, Belgium, France, and all the rest of them.
Spain, Turkey, Greece, you name it.
Yeah, well, places like Greece were never supposed to be part of Europe. No offense to any Greek people, but they had to get their economy to a certain financial level.
Yeah.
Before they should have been allowed into Europe. As it was, they joined Europe, crashed, and Europe had to bail them out.
Oh, it's horrible. What a mess. EU is a total mess. EU is a total mess up. They try to change rules that we always have.
They changed the rules and they removed the freedoms.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I've had a knife in my pocket since I was 5 years old. I've been in fights that I've won, and I've been in fights where I've had 10 barrels of smelly stuff kicked out of me.
Yeah.
But that knife has stayed in my pocket. And now, if I take that little thing out in my pocket and a policeman wants to see what I'm carrying, I get arrested and locked up.
Well,
and yet knife crime has been happening since man learned to sharpen a stick.
We have the same problem here. If I take a little small pocket knife like that one, and I get caught, and they ask what I have in my
Oh
pockets, and I
Lord.
take that up and show them. Hey, I break the law, and I got nice silver
Yeah.
bracelets.
Yeah, and because of the media hyping it up all the time, someone sees you take that knife out and clean something out from under your fingernail. They're on the phone to the police. There's a mad axeman on the loose. He's got a penknife. You know, I could understand him if I was poking the toothpick about at people's faces, but that little thing.
Yeah.
Welcome,
Oh boy.
I don't have to stab someone with that. It weighs nearly 2 pounds. If I hit them, it'll kill them.
Yeah, but
Hello,
the
Bear.
big problem, kids, is they're crazed with power. Even in Japan, like Tokyo, if you carry both of those, you won't see daylight for the next 2 months. They have a zero tolerance. Unless you're a cook or a butcher or a laborer, you don't carry a knife.
Yeah, but why not? It's been in man's pockets for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
They're just trying to control us.
That is it exactly. And then tell us we're free.
The world is a mess up, and the laws begins to be messed up. So it's always all a mess. Everything is a big mess, and we all has to accept it and be happy. But we are not happy when things are messed up.
No. And worse than that, it causes an anger that we end up feeling bad because of all the press. You know, the government's thinking about the victims here. They don't care about the people who are carrying knives. They care about the poor victims, which, yeah, I feel sorry for any victim of knife crime. But the trouble is, anyone that feels they should be allowed to carry a knife around in their pocket ends up carrying anger around inside themselves that gets vented at some innocent person. And then you're told you're not allowed to say certain words like the opposite to white or blue or pink or red or anything like that. It's bloody ridiculous. The further our so-called civilization goes, the less freedom and rights we actually have. It's becoming more like George Orwell's 1984 every day of the week.
True, Randy. And I see John in the list right there. Hi, John.
Hi, John.
Inspired John, good to see you. I see you arrived to Canada.
I like Inspired John. He's my favourite censor.
Yeah, he's a great man, a great guy.
Yeah, John invaded Canada through the back door.
I'm saying nothing. I just hope he's got KY jelly.
Plain old Shark, welcome, buddy. Good to see you. And my friend DG, it's good to see you.
Floral Jungle, my favourite Aussie London bird.
Yeah.
Hi, Dee Dee.
So, yeah. Oh, so Canada surrendered, John.
You wish, John. One gay Canadian trucker surrendering to your whims, John, is not the whole country.
Mona says,
Hi,
listen, a bomb in your underwear is more acceptable than a knife in your fucking pocket. That one was really good. Well, it's safer to have a knife in the pocket than a bomb, but...
Okay, kids, I have to go.
Well...
And I got to go, Jordan and Andy. I'll catch you later.
Yeah,
my meter's acting funny. Catch you later, guys.
You take
Have a
care,
great
Uncle
day.
Al.
Hello. That is Uncle Al. He's a great guy with great knowledge, and has he's
Yeah.
correct about many things.
You knock
So-
yourself out, Chuck. Make the most of it while you're still allowed. He's going to go off and fire a few rounds into someone and sharpen his knife before skinning him.
Yeah.
Assuming it's a him this time.
I put up the link to
Hi,
the
Glenn and
panel
Maureen.
again. Maureen, Glenn and Maureen, it's good to see you.
Jim.
Feel free to click the link and join the panel if you want. What do you say, Glenn?
Uncle Chuck up here.
Yeah, he's too. He'll
You watch your
join
height.
us if you want to, so that's no problem with that.
How's work been this week, Yaron?
Yeah, I have been working this week, so
Still driving around like a crazy man with the van?
Hello.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Benz, good to see you.
Just remember, despite the fantasies, it's not Death Race 2000.
Hello.
It's good to see you, Benz.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the panel.
Can barely hear you.
Yeah, I notice.
It's good to see you.
Everything works just fine on my end, so I guess it works just fine on your end, Andy.
Having a problem Wi-Fi.
Yeah, she has a problem with the connection. So we can.
How's your internet doing, Yaron?
Yeah.
It's still going fine? No, it was.
Yeah,
Because,
I can hear you perfectly clear. So
damn, we finally get a pretty face up here and you scare her off.
no, I don't think so. She had probably bad connection.
Yep, I'll agree with that.
So that can mess everything up.
Hi, Philip.
It's good to see fellow bloggers as well. Great channel, by the way.
Who?
Follow bloggers.
Oh, right.
So they have a lot of things around the area where they live. They do more or less daily vlogs. So
That's a lot of commitment to do a near enough daily thing.
yeah,
That's all I can do to put a couple of videos a week on there. Hi, Rosie.
Freeman James wonder if I'm linked on YouTube. Linked.
Linked.
Yeah.
He's handcuffed, but he's not linked.
No, I have I only my only one window open, and that is the StreamYard. Nothing else. So that wouldn't be a problem.
Hi, Kelly.
My main window is closed, and I have a separate window for just for the StreamYard. So
Yeah, I got one for this. I got one for StreamYards and another one for my email account.
yeah.
Of course I noticed you, Rosie. Always notice a pretty smile, whether it's on a girl
Welcome,
or
Kelly. Hey, Bradley. Hi, Timber Hill Redbones. Long time no see, buddy.
Hi, Cyan. Or Signer, sorry. I'm getting old. These things don't work too well.
No, because you've done some research on them a couple of hours today.
What, on my eyes? I've been
Yeah.
studying them hard, mate. I've been studying hard. I was that hard. I was exhausted. It was that hard. I was exhausted when I woke up.
Yeah. Welcome, Happy Lux.
Hi, Happy Lux. Yeah, if anyone's not hit the like button yet, give it a rattle.
Yeah. Hit the like button.
The thumbs up.
Yeah,
not
thumbs up.
Down. That's my territory.
Yep.
And no, that wasn't me, by the way, Yarn.
That's okay.
Oh, look at it this way. It doesn't matter whether it's up or down. It grabs YouTube's attention at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It still ends up on their little analytic things.
I'm doing pretty good, Bradley.
The Real Love Festival.
Yeah. I put up
That
that
sounds
link.
like something I'd be going to. A month of mushroom madness.
Yeah. It could be worse. Monster truck madness.
Oh dear. That's about the only car I wouldn't mind being run over by. Just duck, so you don't bang your head on the sump or the oh, what the fuck was that called? The diff.
Yeah, the diff. Please, those who want to join the panel, just click the link. And I can add it again. There you go. Feel free.
You got it, Sonny. Still counts as a view. Hi, Geordie.
Yeah. So how is everything with you, Andy? Overall?
Thank you, mate. It was full moon last night. I had a wonderful time. Apart from all the dead animals in the garden and the hair on the floor when I woke up.
Yeah.
Somehow I got toenail scratches behind my ear as well.
You didn't grow any fur or something and begin to howl at the moon?
Only on full moons. 3 days a month.
That will be probably a pretty sight, I guess.
There's a photograph of it on my channel.
Yeah.
Oh God, here we go. I wish I could shut this bloody phone up.
That is typical. Phone bother you when they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Hey, Nelia, would you come and join them in the panel?
Yeah, come on, Nelia. You know you wanna.
Yeah, I have a feeling about that.
Uncle Sahdow is getting seduced by women at the moment.
Well, it can be hard sometimes. But you can force anyone to join the panel if they don't want.
Not without a gun.
And where do you see a gun? I don't have any. Oh, I forgot. I have my air gun, BB gun, but
yeah,
that doesn't help that much.
No. You want one like my old Theoban Rapid 12?
That was a pretty good gun, I guess.
33 foot-pounds.
Not bad at all.
Legal limit for Britain's 12, or under 12 to be precise. I had a
Okay.
firearms ticket for that. I did
Okay.
last night, Bradley. The only deers I found were old deers, unfortunately, on the way home from bingo.
That is okay, Jody. If you can't, that's okay. Just fine. Don't worry about that. We can take that another time, next time.
I can handle the heartbreak, I think.
You're doing just fine. Yeah, and I have a machete. I had a tomahawk, so that would work too, I guess.
There's a little hand axe and a machete in the kitchen.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of knives over on the sideboard.
Welcome, Marilyn. Good to see you. I'm doing pretty good, Marilyn. But I think I got a cold or something. I don't know. So I have been freezing all day, so I don't know what's happening, but I probably has a cold.
I reckon it's psychosomatic, thinking about the flight.
Yeah, the flight.
Trying to make yourself too ill to go.
Yeah, that's 8 November. I will have to fly down south. And that will be interesting.
The Real Love Festival. I've gone the other way. I've made a bug-in bag. Because my spine is knackered, and if I try to run...
Welcome, Tenshi, Arizona. Good to see you, brother.
Yes, I thought I would see if my setup would work on StreamYard. And that
works.
behind me is a GoPro.
And that will be...
Hello,
I figured.
Festival.
It's good to see you, buddy. It's good to have you here. And it's good to talk to you as well, buddy. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, as I was saying, I do have an old blade to hand. Well, not old, this is one of my newer ones. And that behind me is a GoPro.
That ain't a knife.
Well,
hang on a second, let me just mute a window, because getting feedback.
Yeah,
there we go.
YouTube page.
my blade is a little bit bigger than
There we go.
yours.
I'm muting the YouTube side. Well,
Now
you have good taste, Andy, to have a Bowie. Mine being the SP10. That's only one of the blades I have to hand. I also have a Schrade, a couple of folders. I think I've got a Tomahawk somewhere behind me, and Airsoft 1911. Which I haven't got the magazine in, so any of the YouTube snowflakes can fuck off.
Got my
there,
vote.
it's nice and safe and empty. There, now you can see through the chamber. It's safe.
This is United Country.
Nice blade.
Colombian Raptor machete.
Don't you find that mega gym in a pain?
Pretty blade, actually. And I have a gut hook to get something.
Do you not find that mega gym in a pain?
Customized cold steel Trailhawk, cold blued with Birchwood Casey super blue.
Super glue fix everything.
This is a rifleman's hawk. And a nice hammer at the end. edge on the other.
Duran, the cold steel Norsehawk. To be
I'm familiar
customized.
with that one.
I actually got both my Tomahawks at the same time, but I have not yet modified this one. It's on my to-do list.
1 minute.
Yeah. Well, you can do a video about when you modify it.
Yeah, I've got to do some videos, some more videos on my cold steel Hawks, which is what I recently had camera trouble with one of my old action camera. It got completely screwed up. So you can see there in the background on the tripod is the GoPro Hero 7 Black.
There you go,
What kind of
Tenchi.
problems did you have with it?
Well, my old action camera just died.
I'll trump all those tomahawks and knives.
That one is a beauty. That one is a beauty.
I may have missed one nice classy axe though.
Step up.
They're all Iron Age. They're Stone Age.
Yeah, Stone Age.
No, this is Steel Age.
Yeah, and Andy is ancient.
But I ain't that old. About 4 or 5 years old.
But careful having a stone blade in Britain. You know they might do you for having a concealed weapon because metal detectors can't pick it up.
The police have already commented on the amount of knives in my house.
Oh, if they came to my house, they'd be horrified.
I've also pointed out that so long as they do not pass my front door, they can go fuck themselves because there's nothing to do with them.
Because none of my knives go past the front door. They might occasionally go past the back door, though. I have too many blades nearby.
Don't be daft. There's no such thing.
You're swimming in blades there, Tenchi.
And I was just treading on one of mine, which is the Schrade SEHF52.
That looks very familiar.
On my Carter handle scales.
And this is my BB gun.
The only problem with this I have is it's too small.
Anything like that one?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty
The
much
only difference
similar.
is mine has custom scales.
I'm too tight.
Oh man.
Well, are you sure you're not from Scotland?
I do have Scottish blood.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a running gag between me and my housemate, because he's from Aberdeen and he is extremely tight when it comes to money.
It's called Jockanese.
Me, on the other hand, I like spending money as long as it's on blades.
That's
Another nice
is that
for blade.
No, that's
that one was really
D1 tool steel. I can't read it, my vision's too blurred. Black feather knives.
Blade.
That's the PTK with handmade rosewood scales. And the rivets that are in there are absolutely delicious.
That one is really
They look
beautiful.
like a revolver.
Now, here's a blade that Yoran might recognise. Assuming he hangs out in some of the same circles as I do.
That is also a beauty.
The Tops Tahoma Field Knife. Designed by Andy Tran. 1095 carbon steel blade.
I was about to say 10.95. Bloody hell, that was cheap.
If it was 1095 by you,
10.95.
Yeah.
Top
The steel is 1095 high carbon. One of my favourite blades.
Top knives are pretty expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. On the UK market, this one costs around £212.
Okay.
So don't ask me to convert that into krona because I can't remember what the conversion rate is like. But yeah.
That would be about a little bit over 2,000 here.
One of the most useful ones I've got is that little thing.
Thanks for all the bloggers.
And that was 50 quid.
I do not know what my most useful
That
blaze
is
is.
a good price for that one.
I have no idea what my most useful would be, but I know what my most used is, and that's a Cold Steel Pro Light.
Yeah. Something that goes in your pocket. Gets you arrested and locked up for 10 years.
Yeah, especially if you take this out in public.
Yeah.
That
You might as
will
well
be
use
a
it
long
on someone and
vacation.
just do another 5.
In my specific area, actually, Dorset,
Dorset.
I haven't personally had any problems carrying this, but one of my friends had a problem carrying one of these.
Oh,
What?
Now,
That little one?
this is a Gerber dime. The blade length on the knife is 0.9 of an inch.
That is not much.
Technically, under
problem is.
Technically, under UK law, you can carry a non-locking blade up to 3 inches in length. In practice, not so much.
Yeah, well, that's where the law is wrong, because the law has given the power of the police or the power of the judge to the policeman on the street.
Yeah, it's
And the policeman on the
at each
street
officer's
is not
discretion.
qualified to make a judgment call.
Yeah, I mean, I know people who are literally carpenters not far from where I live. You're probably talking 5-10 minutes down the road, and they have been arrested for taking their work knives from their home to their work site, which under UK law is considered
You're allowed to
reasonable
do.
cause
It's
carry.
the only time you're supposed to be carrying a knife, when you have a
That's
legitimate
outrageous.
purpose.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of
That's
those.
hilarious.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
personally,
I'm
one
not
thing I
being
always
funny.
have on me is this, my Swiss Army knife.
Swiss
That is
Army
always
knives.
that is always on me, and I've never had a problem carrying this because why? It
Hey,
doesn't
Jordy.
look like a knife.
The bit that annoys me with
Take care, Jordy.
the knife things in Britain is the slightest thing to do with a knife, the press are all over it like a rash. Yeah, and they spread
That's definitely
fear
true.
of knives among people. And yet, if you ask someone, what knife crime have you actually witnessed for yourself, 99 out of 100 will say, well, I haven't, but you read about it or you hear about it all the time. But what you do not hear about is the 2 young kids a week, every single week in the UK, that die because they've overdosed on alcohol. Now, which is
Or
more
drugs.
dangerous?
I mean, it's just pure propaganda at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's fear-mongering.
I mean,
Yeah.
in the British newspapers, you always hear knife crime this, knife crime that. Shootings happen in the UK.
Yeah,
You
but
don't
that's not
hear about
popular
the
anymore.
shootings. It's already damn near impossible to get a firearm.
Unless you're a criminal, then you can get hold of one with no trouble.
Yeah, exactly. But if you go through the legal channels, Jesus Christ, does it take a long time to get a firearm through legal channels?
I used to have one. I can't
So
have
how
one
long
again.
take it to get a gun on the legal way in UK?
Well, for starters, in order to even get a firearms license, you have to be a member of a gun club.
Not necessarily.
At least in my area, you do.
Oh, right.
And
In
for how
Dorset-
long?
In
you
Dorset,
have to
yeah,
be
you
member?
have to be a member of a shooting club, gun club, to get your firearms license. But most gun clubs require you to have a firearms license to
To
join
be able
them.
to go in there.
Yeah,
What?
exactly.
Oh man!
So
It's a
in some
closed loop.
situations,
So
Yeah,
that basically mess everything up for you guys.
basically how they work it is because of how the gun clubs in my specific area are. There is a very slim chance that you would be able to get a firearms license. Add to
But
the
if
fact that
you
you also need a safe on your property to store the firearms and ammunition separately.
Oh, Steph.
So you can't have both in the same room.
come, Amjad.
Confusing. But yeah, I can go out and get a crossbow or a bow with no paperwork and put an arrow straight through someone with very little effort.
Yeah. Or you can go to the other extreme, the 12 foot-pound limit. Well, it must be under 12 foot-pounds.
Oh, you mean the air rifle limit?
Yeah, right. Fair enough, 12 foot-pounds. How much kinetic energy does a cricket ball carry when someone belts that thing for 6?
Having been hit by a cricket ball several times in my life, a fucking lot.
Yeah, it's about 300 foot-pounds.
And quite legitimately as well, don't forget you can also get slingshots really easily in the UK.
Yeah, and you can put an arrow in it and you can run that through someone.
I mean, I have, I think it's around here somewhere. Here it is. This is me. I always have everything close by. It's called being prepared.
Yeah.
A Barnett Black Widow slingshot. Now, these aren't the factory bands on it. These bands are actually 50-pound draw weight.
Nice.
That's
which means I
pretty
can take a
nice.
standard.
Arm starts shaking.
I could take a standard 10mm ball that comes with the slingshot, 10mm steel ball, and literally put a hole in someone's head with a slingshot.
Yeah.
And these are not regulated. So where is the sense in having the air rifles regulated to £12 when you can buy weapons off the shelf online without any paperwork or anything, delivered to your door?
You know the crazy
I
thing
agree
about
with
air
you.
gun power limits? In many European countries, the air rifle power limit is 6 foot-pounds.
Yeah, that's if I remember correctly, our air pistol limit.
Yeah, which is basically a BSA Scorpion that's just been cleaned.
Or an old Webley.
My Tempest was shit, so I won't say to that.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of, the Tempest. I couldn't remember the name of it.
If I hit
Thank
someone
you for
with
that, Andy. I could never remember the name of the Webley, but I used to have
the
one.
Tempest and the Hurricane.
Yeah, it was a Tempest I used to have. When it was clean, shot really well. As soon as you get a little bit of fouling in the rifling of the barrel, though, shoots like shit.
And if they get close, but you don't want to mark them, you buy yourself a flashlight with a difference.
A taser light. Well, stun gun light, actually.
No, it's a flashlight. Look.
A flashlight with a stun, just happens to have a stun gun built onto the end
That
of
was a
it.
stunning flashlight.
Oh, come
Minor
on,
detail.
Yolan, did you have to use that pun?
One could say it's a lady's
We as
region stimulator.
tasers are illegal for a civilian to buy here.
Yeah, they are in the UK as well.
Yeah, but you can
That's
get
why
them
I
through a lot
bought
of Chinese
a flashlight.
sites.
That's why I bought a flashlight. I can't get a taser.
It's like another good example. Brass knuckles are completely illegal in the UK.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
The nylon version. Just use the nylon version. 1-inch nylon bar. Light as a feather, fast through the air, and incredibly hard.
Where'd it go?
Yeah.
I know, my son hit me with it when he was a kid. Little bastard.
That must hurt.
Or if you want to be really, really cheap, Rattan Screamer sticks.
Ah, the screamer sticks works just
These things
fine.
are light as hell, but they will smash a cinder block.
Nice.
I mean, this is about 23 inches long, and it only weighs about 3 ounces.
I don't know what that length that is or what it weighs. It was in the metalwork storeroom when I was a kid at school. And it sort of jumped out and hid itself down my personage.
Yes, I can think of many times that happened to me with materials when I was at school.
Yeah.
And I left in 99. I was always taking stuff from the woodworking shop.
1981 I left. Couldn't get out of there fast enough. Plus I was expelled on the last day of school.
Well, you don't learn anything in school. You just learn.
Well, the mayor was there handing out the leaving certificate. What the fuck is that?
That was just my phone. Don't worry about that.
Oh, right.
Although,
I
funnily
was
enough, I was actually
wondering if someone was flashed down.
I thought that was the start of the 3-minute warning. I was about to put the head between me knees and kiss me arse goodbye.
actually, the funny thing was my notification actually went off right next to a cop yesterday when I was out recording a video for my own YouTube channel, and the poor bastard turned absolutely white. Because whenever I go out, I have my notification up to the maximum volume. So, yeah, it's not something I'm used to hearing over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's fucking funny. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous the attitude the UK has towards firearms and specifically towards air guns. Because even at the limit we have for rifles, 12 foot-pounds, you hit someone in the right place with a 22 caliber pellet. It's just the fact that it's very difficult to hit them in the right place.
Yeah, but even better than the 22 pellet is a 177 BB if you can hit them. Because if you hit them anywhere on the head with a 12 foot-pound gun, you are going through that bone with a steel object. It's not like lead.
Yeah,
There's no impact and crush. It's just like a drill.
it's just pure transference of energy.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, again, those 177 BBs are really easy to purchase.
Yeah, they are cheap.
And the funny thing is, actually, when I was in my teens, me and a mate of mine used to shoot each other with 177 BBs through the Wembley Tempest. We used to wear actually old military issue jackets, the DPM ones.
Yeah.
Which just about have enough give in them to stop penetration of the BB. But you get left with a massive bruise, and I'm talking you get hit by one of these tiny 177 BBs and you end up with a 3-inch bruise on your arm.
Or if you're squatting down trying to hide and your mate comes around the corner and shoots you in the arse where your trousers are tight against the skin.
I've had that happen to me before as well. I think the one thing that actually made me jump most was when I was about 17. I had a really old, cheap Chinese 12 foot-pound air rifle, and my mate wasn't being careful, had his hand on the trigger, and it went off, went right into my foot.
Ouch.
And it wasn't until about 5 minutes. It wasn't until about 5 minutes after the incident happened that I realised, oh, I'm wearing steel-toe cap boots. I was like so shocked that I'd actually been shot in the foot. I was like, just completely blanked out for 5 minutes.
My mate did that when we were camping.
Welcome, John's Live.
He's sitting there, he's cleaning his gun up because it had been raining while we were out shooting. He's cleaning it up and wiping it over. And I don't know exactly what he did. He must have thought he'd unloaded it or something stupid like that. But he cocked it, fired it towards the bottom end of the tent, and he hit his big toenail.
Oh, that hurt.
Pieces. Man, did he scream.
Yeah, that must hurt pretty good.
Yeah, we're laying there in the tent. We've just got like jeans, t-shirt, nothing on our feet. And he just points it towards the open flaps. He goes, bang! Shot himself right in the toenail.
This is a good example of why, even if
kids air guns.
This is a good example of why, even if a gun is empty, you always point it in a safe direction, not at yourself.
Yeah.
And that is especially true if you're using a 177 air rifle. Because those little pellets have a lot of penetration.
Yeah, my Fairbairn used to have a lot of penetration. The Rat 12.
In all honesty, I think the funniest thing that ever happened actually happened to a friend of mine, which is what was so pissed funny. And he was cleaning an old Bisley 22 pistol and shot himself in the hand because he didn't know it was loaded. And I told him 3 times before he started cleaning it, make sure the barrel's clear. I told him 3 times. About 2 minutes after he started cleaning it, I hear a followed by a whole lot of cursing.
Do you remember those old gat guns?
Oh
The
man.
old
Yeah, the
gat-
ones you push the barrel
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, dynamite
Yeah.
hit my mate's head. He went, watch. He went, bang, with the barrel up against his head. He had a black eye that sort of spread down one side, up the side of his head.
You'd think people are smart enough to realise that the barrel comes out when it fires.
That was not the brightest thing.
I quote the words of wisdom, I didn't think about that.
Those old gat guns were a good bit of fun, but they
Yeah,
did
especially with
require
dark.
some common sense, though.
Yeah,
And then
unfortunately,
there's the
you don't get a bag of common sense.
I don't know if you'll get the upgraded version of the G10 air pistol.
G10.
Yeah, similar to a gat gun, but it can take 50 177 BBs in it.
Yeah.
Can still fire the darts like the original gat gun. Can still fire the pellets.
Yeah,
and
I
again,
used to
something
have,
break.
oh, who made it? I think it was either a Diana or a Daisy little imitation Colt 45 that fired BBs.
I think it was actually Daisy that made those.
Yeah, I can see a D somewhere on it. And that's the only two things I can name.
The only ones I know. I've definitely seen a Daisy version of that. Not sure about Diana, though.
No.
Although
I know
it makes
mate had a Diana. He had a Diana G80, which is 1970s air gun. But by God, it was powerful.
The sad thing here in Sweden is when it comes to crossbows, you can't buy a crossbow here. You need to have a license for them and be in a club to even get one. So,
Yeah, same with some countries and slingshots. In some countries, you cannot have a wrist brace on a slingshot.
well, if you're gonna buy a slingshot here, you need to first have a farm. You can buy them easily, and you have, or otherwise you have to use it in competition. You can buy a slingshot. Otherwise, no. They have taken that fun away from us.
Yeah.
I'm pissed off for that.
Well, there's always a way around that, Iran. You just make a Stone Age slingshot, a bit of leather and some cordage.
Yeah.
Or you go completely around the law and you make an atlatl and a long dart.
Ah,
Now, those I have seen. They
that
look
works
fun.
too.
Oh, yes.
I mean, some places, the Black Widow, which is essentially a kid's slingshot, would be illegal because it has a wrist brace on it. And if I'm not I don't know if I'm remembering correctly, but I think in New York State you cannot have a wrist brace on a slingshot. I don't know if I'm remembering that correctly, though.
But you can have a concealed carry permit and a 44 Magnum stuffed inside your jacket.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, I think that's kind of funny.
Take care, Sina.
I mean, realistically, with how stupid the UK is getting, I mean, I take it you've heard the politician's last funny excuse of rounding off the tips on all kitchen knives.
Oh, God. It won't be long before we're not allowed to use a kitchen knife. We'll have to have some automated band of, like, cheese wire to slice up the Sunday joint, you know?
Don't give them ideas, Andy. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, but
if you're going to give them ideas, tell them to jump into the English Channel.
No, if it was down to me as to who gets to be a politician and who doesn't, the English government would be disbanded completely. And then anyone who wanted to run to be a politician would first have to go on a 6-month, heavily intensive psychedelic course where every week they're getting tripped out of their brains. And I guarantee you do that with enough countries and world poverty will end straight away. Greed will end. hating people for the sake of hating them just because your government says they're a bad person, but you're not allowed to be racist, that would all go out the window. Religion would go.
Yeah.
That actually.
You should know what I'm talking about. Dorset's covered in their mushrooms. I have a friend in
Parts of
Weymouth.
Dorset, yeah.
I have a friend in Weymouth that I go down and visit every autumn.
And he's still standing.
By this time of year, yeah. The mushroom experience lasts 4 or 5 hours.
By the time autumn rolls around, on the lawn.
You faded out. What was that?
Oh, by the time autumn hits, he'll be talking about ninjas on the lawn.
Yeah. And behind the wardrobe. And pixies and elves.
There's a dragon on the roundabout. Actually, one other knife I do have to hand, which I really do like this one. Ah, where's the camera? There it is. Mother of pearl handled trapper.
Pretty.
And you should actually like this one, Yoran, because it was actually made in Sweden.
Okay.
So yeah, this is a Swedish made knife.
Sandvik steel.
That was a really beauty.
And it's a trapper.
Okay.
With foil work on the spines. So, very nice knife.
How much did you pay for that one?
This one was actually relatively cheap. It was around £15.
Very cool.
Including shipping.
That was not pretty bad price for it.
Personally, I think it was worth it because that is beautiful.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it don't matter how many pound notes you had to invest in it, it's how much joy it gives you.
Yeah, that's why I have so many knives.
Yeah. It's down to the pleasure you get from them.
Although most of them I can't actually get to because they're in a pelican case behind the chair. And the latches on that thing are tight as hell.
Sounds like my ex-wife.
Sounds like most British politicians.
Her purse.
Sounds like most British politicians, honestly.
Yeah.
Welcome locked and loaded, 100%.
Surprisingly, StreamYard seems to work quite well with my setup, so...
StreamYard is incredibly...
well, that is good. That StreamYard works well for you.
Yeah, but StreamYard, I don't know how they do it, but it seems to be very tech light, if you get what I mean. It's not screaming the hell out your processor.
You don't need to be a tech nerd for using it, so...
No, and you don't need a massively powerful computer to host 6 people. Well, host 5 plus yourself.
Well, I think my computer would be considered massively powerful in some aspects, considering it's running an i7 processor.
Yeah.
It's actually a gaming PC, but I need that kind of processing power to do my videos.
I don't know what processor this got in it. It's got 16 gigabytes of RAM. And
John's life, you're right there. The case trappers are beautiful. Very expensive though, especially if you buy them in the UK, because we tend to get screwed over on prices.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a good example is actually my Bowie knife, or more accurately, my other knife, the Homer, which in the States, this knife, if I remember correctly, in the States is around $150. But what you do if you've got the UK price, actually work out the conversion rate, it actually works out close to 300 in UK money. That's if you do the conversion rate straight across. And then, of course, if you want to import things into the UK, then it gets a whole lot more complicated because you can use, and it's either 20% VAT or 20% of the item's value, whichever happens to be more money.
Plus, you have the problem that customs have been told not to allow the private importation of knives.
Yeah, that's the other problem that's fast approaching.
that black feather that I had earlier, that's a custom one. To get it into
Very
the
nice.
UK, I had him label it as repaired and returned.
Yeah, because otherwise they'll just seize it at customs.
Yeah, they'll seize it at customs and thank you very much. That's £200 that you just spent gone up the wall.
Yeah. And that is, I think, really, the UK is basically shitting
Paranoid.
itself right now.
Yeah, I don't know what the fear is about. You know, every other day
most
I get a phone call telling me how bad it is out there in the world. But I don't have TV, radio, or anything to do with the media beyond what I want to inflict upon myself with YouTube. Yeah?
I'm pretty much saying the only thing I watch TV for is movies.
Or the weather forecast.
Oh, not even that. I use my phone for the weather forecast. It's more accurate.
But the point being that I'm not subjected to all this scaremongering all the time. And I'll get phone calls from mates, oh, it's terrible, this happened, that happened. Yeah, well, shit goes on every day of my life, but I'm not inviting it into my life. I can't do anything about what's happening out there, so why bother polluting my life with it? But yeah, but this, but that. No, think about it. What are you actually witnessing for yourself? Well,
even in
boring where I live.
Well, even in my part of Dorset and the area I'm in has quite high crime rates. You do not see any knife crime in my area. You hear about it.
It's propaganda. It's gossip.
I mean, in the past year and a half, there has actually, to my knowledge, and I know this for a fact, been one knife attack in my area, which happened literally 30, 40 feet from my front door at a children's play area.
The only knife attack in recent time that's happened around here happened between two drug dealers that were having a fight over money. So if one kills the other, so the fuck what?
I was about to say, if one kills the other, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
They're doing us a favour by killing themselves.
That is one drug dealer less.
What's that, mate?
That is one drug dealer less.
Exactly.
You could kill them both off, and what'll happen? Within a week, there's two more wannabes take their place.
Or more, depending on the part of the UK you're in.
Yeah, well, where I live, it's so piss boring and quiet. Two's enough.
I mean, honestly,
with Weymouth look like the big city.
Even Weymouth is tame compared to some parts of the country.
The
further north you go, the worse it tends to get.
The further what?
The further north you go, the worse it tends to get.
Yeah, well, you're heading towards London and all the wannabe London boys.
Or Bradford, if you want to go even further north.
Oh, I thought you meant staying within Sussex. Sorry.
Oh, no, if you stay within Sussex, yeah, you're probably right. It would be the London area.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got the Mayor of London saying there's no reasonable cause for carrying a knife. I'll remind you of that when a paramedic needs to fix you up.
Yeah, and I'd remind you of that when some little hooligan on a bloody moped comes down swinging a machete at the local cop or an off-duty soldier.
I mean, it is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, hilarious.
How bad the politicians try to make it seem.
Yeah, but the politicians hold the press in the palm of their hands. And they will feed them whatever they want the country to believe. If you think about it, the perfect example of that was Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, when that went over the air in America.
Oh, yeah, that
people really thinking the aliens had landed from Mars.
The biggest putting the shits up the people that anyone has ever done. The best prank in world history was War of the Worlds.
Yeah. But it worked, and that should have shown the politicians and media moguls exactly how powerful a tool they've got. And I would say that there's more cause to license and restrict the media than what there is to license and restrict the individual. Because the individual will only affect the individual.
Yeah, and the biggest problem is, again, with the more violent areas of the UK are generally those that have a higher poverty rate.
Yeah, where sooner or later, the only way you get to feed your kids is to commit crime.
And in that case, yeah, London, at least the outer areas of London, do have extremely high poverty rates. I mean, even where I live in Dorset, we do have some areas of Dorset that have extremely, extremely high poverty rates.
And other areas that have got extremely high wealth rates.
Yeah. I mean, for example, Poole, Bournemouth and Christchurch. There are some areas of Christchurch, well, Christchurch and Poole are typically quite wealthy. Bournemouth, it's split right down the middle. You've got parts of Bournemouth that are wealthy, and then other parts where it's completely crime-riddled, completely impoverished.
Yeah.
Instead of taking people's freedoms away, they actually need to solve the problem. If you solve the poverty, you will get rid of the violent crimes.
Yeah.
Most violent crimes are not.
To a degree, there will always be. Yeah, there will always be violent crime. There will always be that, because I'm not being funny. A perfectly normal, calm husband will come home, catch his wife in bed with his best mate, and violent crime will ensue.
That's true. I can't deny that.
That's why violent crime will always exist. But the amount of violent crime you will knock on the head by solving the problem rather than just keep locking people up.
I mean, the rate the UK's going, they're going to run out of space in the jails, so they're going to have to build more of them.
Yeah, but they haven't done that. When I was a kid, there was 54 million people in Britain. There's now something like 66 point something million. And there's not one more prison. In fact, there are just the same amount of prisons, but fewer of them are open.
There's actually less now because Dorchester Prison is no longer operational.
That's what I mean. There's less of them open.
There goes my notification again. God damn, I love that notification.
Okay.
I thought one of me piles.
That is a terrible sound on your notifications.
I love that notification.
Yeah, I bet you do.
And that's just my message notification. My ringtone's even worse because my ringtone sounds like a machine gun. At least I can easily identify my phone when I'm in public.
Dingo.
It is extremely, extremely easy to identify my phone in public because of my notifications. It also tends to get a lot of attention as well. Which it's just pure hilarity when that goes off in town.
You should just send your mate a text saying, look, I'm going to walk into a police station and make a lost property report in 10 minutes. In 12 minutes, I want you to keep messaging me.
You would probably be arrested for that too.
Yeah, probably be arrested for disturbing the peace.
Yeah,
disturbing the peace with a violent phone that was calmly tucked in his back pocket.
Oh, if you want even funnier, actually, market near me, you'll probably know it if you are familiar with some of the markets in the UK. Wimborne Market, for example, a big market not far from me.
I know where Wimborne is.
I went there a couple of months ago, and one of the vendors on Wimborne Market has phone cases that look like that. If you actually cut this side up, this is what's sticking out your pocket, but the bottom of it is a phone case. So it actually looks something like that.
oh man.
And I actually got one for a friend of mine who likes doing practical jokes on the police and whatnot. And he walked straight into the local police station with that case hanging off his belt with just that showing, the phone completely in his pocket. And he had to respond to him from that. And when he pulled it out and they saw it was a phone, they just had to let him go because there's nothing they could do about it. But that was fucking hilarious.
I agree.
I mean, can you imagine doing that in all the grenade attacks and shit that they have?
The best way to do it is have it on the
Civilian
inside
killed by drawing cell phone.
Yeah, just have it on the inside of your jacket. Make out you got laryngitis. Write a note on a bit of paper. Chuck that under the bank teller's window and say, "I want to make a withdrawal." And just sort of give a flash of the handle.
I mean, the funny thing is how good these phone cases actually look. Because they look identical to the real firearm. Because they're not even brightly coloured like the airsoft guns are. And this is another criticism I'll bring up with the UK right now. Airsoft guns have to be two-tone, such as this. If you go to the States, you can custom order, direct from Colt, a two-tone 45 ACP 1911.
There you go.
So I could go to the States and have a real 1911 in this coloration. Blue and black. I could have it bright fucking pink if I wanted.
Yeah.
But pink wouldn't suit you, Tenchi.
Yeah, we both know that, Yoran. It'd have to be like camouflage or black or red, something like that.
Yeah.
Actually, a black and red 1911. Black 1911 with red grips. That'd be beautiful.
That sounds like a lady in a black dress with red slutty lipstick on.
Yeah, you do, Christine.
I mean, yeah, it's completely hilarious how many of these phone cases are out there. I've even seen phone cases that are modelled after knife handles. So you've got in UK markets, like Wimborne Market, for example, phones that resemble gun grips, phones that resemble knife handles, or if you want to be a little more cruel or a little more entertaining for the police, you can actually buy a wallet that looks like a fucking hand grenade.
Excellent.
And they cost about £5.
What?
That'd be worth going into the police station, laying it on the desk in front of the desk sergeant and saying, "I just found this on the street."
Or even funnier, there's actually a store in Poole, an old store, that sells like novelties and shit. And one of the novelties they had in about a year and a half ago, no kidding, was a woman's purse in the shape of a Claymore anti-personnel mine.
Nice.
I'm like, I should get some props from these guys just to fucking scare the shit out of people. It is just hilarious.
Welcome,
Well,
Green Wheeler. Good to
take
see you
the door
again.
knocker off your front door and just bolt the wallet on there. Leave with a hand grenade to knock on your front door with.
I would not be surprised if someone has already done that, Andy, to be quite honest with you. Because the amount of people who go onto Amazon or onto sites like GearBest just to buy novelty stuff, yeah. I would not be surprised if there is some house somewhere in the UK that has a hand grenade as a door knocker.
But you want it so as when they go and swing the door knocker, it pulls the pin out and the handle comes flying out, and then see who's really dedicated and stays there and waits for you to answer the door.
Well, don't forget, we have a lot of military surplus stores and a lot of antique stores in the UK, and a lot of those military surplus stores will actually have grenades that have had the explosives removed from them,
yeah,
and have a hole drilled in the bottom.
Rich Runner.
But if you're clever,
plug up with a bit of cork in and paint green or black, whatever colour it happens to be.
If you're clever, what you can actually do, because most of these will still have the original paint on them, by the way, as well, Andy. What you can do is you can get a smoke bomb, put it in the bottom, and use the fuse from a party popper in the bottom of the smoke bomb. And when they pull it away from the door, it will make the smoke come out.
Yeah.
It will just ignite the smoke bomb. Or if you want to be really cruel, the little Smithy's stink bombs. I don't know how many of you guys will remember those.
When I used to skive off certain lessons at school, I'd just go and hang about in the toilet and wait there until the lesson was over and then go to the next one. Sometimes if I'd been to the joke shop and I bought those stink bombs, I'd go and sellotape one under the seat of each of the girls' toilets and then nip back into the boys' toilet.
Yeah, those are the ones that's the little glass vials.
Yeah, look like they're full of morphine till you open one.
Yeah, those things are friggin' hilarious. Matter of fact, speaking of going off for school, quite honestly, I was hardly ever at school when I was at school. It was only my last couple of years that I started going regularly because I was getting in too much trouble with various officers. But yeah, I used to actually cycle to school. So what I used to do is I used to have my fishing gear hidden at a mate's house in his front garden. I used to ride past his house, pick up my fishing gear and go fishing instead of going to school.
Well, I don't know what part of Sussex you're in, but where I live is on the top of the Essex-Suffolk border coast, a little village called Harwich. If you look at a map of East Anglia, it's shaped like a person's bum. Well, Harwich, you can guess where that is.
Right in the asshole.
Yeah. Well,
I suppose we could say you're at the ass end of Britain then.
Well, being on the northern end of the Thames estuary, our water's the same colour as well. It's like chocolate soup. Well, I used to cycle.
The entire Thames was the same colour.
It pretty much is. Well, I used to cycle to school along the prom every morning, and if it was windy as fuck and blowing up a storm, I'd get absolutely drenched on purpose. In fact, I would hang about waiting for waves. And the logic is you get sent to school. I'm freezing cold, miss. Can I go home and get changed? Yeah, right, yeah. Right, see you tomorrow. And you get sent home. By the time you get home, your mum's gone to work, so you just get changed, put your clothes on. There we go again. That's it. Yeah, get changed, put your clothes on, sit there and do whatever.
Best way to get out of school is actually just have your fishing gear hidden in your mate's front garden. That's what I used to do.
Either that or take some really rank old bait, worms that have been dead for about 3 weeks. Take them with you into class.
That would smell pretty bad.
Not as bad as surströmming.
Pardon?
But then again, I don't think anything smells as bad as surströmming.
Yeah, they've probably been thinking I've been spending too much time with the headmaster.
I have smelled that and I tasted.
Or if you want to piss the teachers off.
I think it probably tastes worse than it smells.
Yeah, drop a dead squid down behind the radiators in the classroom.
Horrible, and the taste is horrible too.
For those of you guys out there in the stream who do not know what surströmming is, it is fermented Nordic herring. And the smell, well, it's somewhere between raw sewage and rotten corpses. Take your pick.
Decomposing whale flesh.
I mean, I smelt that stuff, and I can not accurately describe it. The best I can say about it is somewhere between raw sewage and rotten corpses. Somewhere on that spectrum. I don't know where in that spectrum.
It's the sort of thing you drop behind the radiator in the school.
Well, I had a hard time doing that at my school because all the radiators were mounted like floor grills.
Poke it in through the holes.
You can drop things behind them. You could certainly drop things in them, though. And one class I actually used to do was arbitration. Couldn't fucking stand it, so I always used to get a box of stink bombs, the whole box, crack each vial and dunk it down the friggin' radiator slits. And then make sure I'm out the class before the stink hits.
If you do it properly, you put it in a position so that when the teacher sits on his chair, he breaks it. It didn't stink until you got in here, sir.
Well, in our case, it was actually a woman, but she was actually too wise to that because people used to keep putting drawing pins on her chair.
Ow.
That was a good one.
I honestly could not say that I blamed them because she was a right bitch. But yeah, what do you
Not them at school.
expect from a teacher?
Yeah. I fell out of love with
In the
RE.
case of her, she was, yeah,
My
she was
third day of
extremely
secondary
religious.
school. Tenchi, my third day of secondary school. Double PE lesson. We're going to learn rugby. You're the biggest. You go stand in the field. I'm going to show the kids how to do a rugby tackle. He folded me in half backwards so hard that the heel of my boots ripped open a 2-inch gash on the back of my head. And he obliterated 3 discs in the base of my spine.
Ouch.
I was then off school until about mid-January.
Well, at least something good came out of it.
That was what I was thinking. I didn't even find out what had happened until 1998. Oh, fuck, it's empty. Right, I'm going to be back in a minute. The cup's empty. And Yoran knows how much I must have my cup filled.
An empty cup is never a good thing. Unless you've got a glass of whiskey nearby.
And he need his coffee and milk and cake. That makes him happy.
Updates on prepping? I'd say that's actually a pick to cover. Most important thing in prepping is actually the mindset.
Yeah, mindset. Be prepared here.
If you have the tools and not the mindset, because one without the other is no good. That's something I think most people who get into prepping as a hobby do not realise. It is more than just having the equipment. You've also got to have the skills and the mindset to be able to utilise that equipment.
And practice. A lot of practice.
Yeah, because if you don't practice a skill, you're never going to get better at it. And that can especially go for 2 things that are vital in a survival situation, which are water purification or filtration, and shelter.
Yeah.
Do not count on having a pre-made shelter. When it comes to prepping, I prep for pretty much every situation that I could come across. Power cuts, I'm prepared. I keep a lot of water. I keep water filtration options, water purification options, a comprehensive fire kit, and I do practice how to use it on the regular. Most importantly, honestly, is calculating any situation. Practice for any situation. Whether it's a power down situation, or an even more realistic situation for some people, a situation where you get lost. So practice everything basically. I think you'd agree there, right, Yoran?
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that one. 100%.
I've got too much near my desk apparently.
Well, fishing equipment is good to have as well. As a prepper, you might need it. I have a telescope rod, so that is not much space and easy to carry. So, and a box with some lures and some fishing line. And
do you like your noodles, Tenchi?
yeah, I believe
Needles?
Have you tried them yet?
I don't think I have.
They're dirt cheap. They're about the best ones you'll find in Britain. They are gorgeous.
Instant noodles are definitely something that you in a prepping kit because they do have a very long shelf life.
Yep.
Also, fishing line, if you get a good quality fishing line, very versatile, even if you need to use it as sutures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't use braid.
Yeah, definitely. If you're gonna use fishing line as sutures, make sure it is monofilament.
Yeah. Braid, you'll tend to find that when it heels over, it's healed up through the braid as well.
Also, when it comes to telescopic rods, do not cheap out. Make sure you get a good quality one because the cheap ones will break.
I don't even do telescopic.
Ask me how I know. It's happened to me on several occasions.
I've got a house full of fishing rods, but the only telescopic one I've got is one that my dad had lying around when he died. And it was either I took it or it was going in the bin.
Unfortunately, there's not as many good telescopic rods on the market now as there used to be. There's a lot of crap out there.
I had 3 or 4 when I was younger, and the problem I found with them is all too often one of the bloody eyes would come off that piece of the blank.
Yeah, it's usually the tip one that it happens to.
Yeah, I'm on about one of the intermediate ones. That used to drive me nuts because you'd be trying to fish and you got one eye keep trying to twist and round all the time.
That is one of the biggest downsides with the telescopic rod, the fact that the sections can rotate all the way around.
Yeah, I've got...
The Real Love Festival asked me.
Well, 4 items for a bug out bag, cigarette lighter, water, big tarp, and either a sleeping bag or a blanket.
There is Andy's.
Nice handy, but if you can't set fire to anything, what's the point?
Yeah.
Fresh water will save you having to hunt out water and sterilise it. Tarp will keep you warm.
I would have a pot to.
I'll carry my pot in my pocket.
And I would use put in ferro rod or a lighter and a water filter.
I would definitely say a water filter and a ferro rod would be better than a lighter. The ferro works when wet, the lighter not so much.
I said ferro rod or a lighter, so I would go for a ferro rod.
Yeah, but what are you going to strike the ferro rod with? That's another item. The ferro rod itself is one
you
item.
have a striker attached to their ferro rod.
Well, that's the second item. Otherwise, I could say I'd have a fishing kit, which consists of one of my rods, a fishing reel, the line that's loaded with, the associated kit to go fishing with. A ferro rod is one item. That's why I chose a lighter.
I will be back. I have to go to the bathroom for a sec.
Oh, well.
That's on the 10 team.
We're about to get the North Sea flooded.
Keep the people entertained.
Of course, Joran. Don't you trust me?
No, the worst thing you can do is trust people.
I'm not very good at that.
But yes, a good wool blanket, I say, would be better than a sleeping bag.
Oh, I don't know. My Elite 5 is bloody hot.
Especially a military issue wool blanket. And personally, I don't think I can narrow it down to 4 items because most of my stuff's already divided into kits. I mean, my fire kit alone is probably 20 or 30 items. Tinders, redundancies for lighting fires. But yeah, I'd say a good survival water filter, something like a Renovo Trio or a Life Straw, in terms of water preparation. In terms of fire, I would take a ferro rod, because my ferro rod already has a striker on it.
Still 2 items, fucking cheap.
Shelter, definitely a military wool blanket, because they're cheap and they are bloody warm. And for food, I just take...
You got 4 items. 4 items. They're gone.
For sorting food, it's easy. A knife.
Don't even need that. You live on the same sort of area that I do. There is more than enough flint on your coast and across your countryside for you to make your own sharp edge.
Yes, but why make a sharp edge when you can already have one?
Yeah,
Don't forget a steel blade.
You're limited.
Don't forget a steel blade will last longer.
Yeah, and it is a problem to create a new blade of flint because that needs some skill to do that.
No, it don't. You just get 2 pieces of flint, you smash them together, and you will get hundreds of sharp edges.
Well, yeah, but if you want a decent blade of a flint, you need to do the job correct. That means flint napping, and
no, not really.
That skill takes a long time to learn.
All you got to do is create 1 sharp edge on a big chunk of flint. Yeah. With that 1 sharp edge, you can then sharpen sticks into anything from spears to arrows to something to stab with.
Yeah,
true enough.
That works.
Yeah, you haven't got to create a knife. You've just got to create a sharp edge, preferably on as big a piece of flint as you can find, so that you can wedge that between the soles of your feet and scrape the wood over it.
Reverend Christie. Oh, best way to start a fire.
Rub 2 good scouts together.
It may take a little longer, but the heat is made.
Okay, that is just
fire. Just lay between the 2 Girl Scouts.
And if you can't find 2 Girl Scouts to rub together, so
have a couple of Girl Scout cookies you won't even need to keep warm.
No, because they keep you warm.
Well, it won't be that. You'll be so stoned and tripped out, you just won't give a toss about how warm or cold you are.
It also depends on the area as well, because different conditions in different areas, obviously.
Like for me, I live literally on the coast. Within 3 points of the compass and a mile, there's seawater. I'm on a peninsula. So
yeah, I've only got the water in one direction, which is that away.
Yeah, but the point being, there's no freshwater rivers anywhere in my area that are remotely safe to drink.
I'd say that's about the same in my area. The only 2 rivers in my area I would not want to drink from without a decent quality water filter.
Yeah, but you got chalk streams.
In some parts of Dorset, yes, not in my part of Dorset.
Right.
The chalk streams are further north from where I live.
Available water in my area is all seawater. So I've either got to boil it off, condense it, and catch the condensed water, which that's me 4 items gone just trying to do that.
Yeah,
or I take fresh water with me. Only 1 item for a bug out bag, a very sharp knife. Because if I can't make it, I
would choose a knife. Actually, if you had,
of course, we're all making one huge assumption here, and that's that we've got clothes on to start with.
Yeah, it's a bit of an oversight.
Logically, that is a huge assumption. What if you're in the bath, listen to the radio, and all of a sudden it cuts in, the emergency message comes on. Our government's fucked up big time. The Russians now hate us. The missiles are on the way. What are the first things you're going to grab? A towel followed by underwear. Maybe
the missiles are on their way.
when you shit yourself.
Well, Andy, if the missiles are already on the way, you might as well roll up in the corner and kiss your ass goodbye.
Exactly. Well, I might as well. There's fucking nuclear targeting site 8 miles from me.
I thought the entirety of... Well, you wouldn't even need multiple nukes to take out the entirety of the UK.
No, not
You'd only
really.
need one well-placed nuke.
4 nukes are done in an airburst over the length of the UK, and that's it. We'd all fucking die.
Well, Christine,
As long as you don't live in an urban area, I think you'd be okay. But, oh crap, most of the UK is an urban area.
All the countryside round here is all farmland, which means there is no end of shit being sprayed all over the fields every year and then rained out into the watercourses.
Yeah, that's very similar to Dorset then, because again, and Wiltshire,
yeah,
lots and lots. Then you go across to Hampshire and you've got the entirety of New Forest, which is a good place to get lost.
Yeah, it's also a good place to run bloody horses over when they go walking across the road.
Not just horses, cows as well.
And trekkers. Trekkers, hikers, walkers.
Tourists.
Yeah. They all seem to just cross the road without looking. It's like, oh, we're in the countryside now. The green cross code doesn't matter.
That is something, actually, that drives my housemate absolutely bananas. And even in town, people crossing the road, and we're talking about main roads here, without even fucking looking.
Yeah, and they think, I am so important, everyone will, oh, fuck, he's just run into me.
I mean, it is a stat. Well, if I was to put him on a live stream while he was driving, the air would turn fucking blue. Because he's one of those people, he cannot drive for 5 minutes without complaining. The second he starts driving, he starts complaining. It doesn't stop until he parks at the other end of the journey.
That's a bit like my ex-wife. I said to her, the best way I can get you to stop complaining is to fucking hold your mouth and nose shut.
I don't know. Duct tape might work.
Yeah, duct tape work.
The only problem then is getting the duct tape off when you actually need to hear them for some reason.
Yeah, but that's going to be a fucking lot of duct tape that you need, Tenchi. You're going to have it delivered by container.
Not if it's Gorilla Tape, because that stuff's bloody good.
Yeah, Gorilla Tape.
Yeah, but you're still talking about such a large volume to cover with it, you know? Like the fucking Mersey Tunnel with teeth.
It's like the normal.
We have pretty good water here in Sweden too, Christine, so we don't need to filter it here either.
Yeah, that's the problem where I live. 2 rivers near me. No matter how far you went up either one, because of the amount of farmland in Dorset, you would invariably have to either filter it or preferably boil it.
Or both.
We have
both. Yeah.
And then test it with a testing kit to make sure that the DDT and everything is actually dead.
And when you have to have a Geiger counter just in case.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you there probably is some radioactive particulate in some of the rivers in the UK.
To a certain degree, there's radioactive particulate around us all the time.
Yeah.
It's the volume and the intensity of it that gets worrying.
Yeah, well, if you're looking for the density of it, just go to Parliament.
Yeah, you don't get much more dense than that, really, do you? We are a shining example to our British public. Things didn't go the way we want, so we're going to throw a hissy fit and we're going to lock ourselves into the fucking Houses of Parliament. Yes, children, use these people as your role models. If you don't get your own way, kick and scream and hold your breath until you go blue. Hopefully you'll fucking die.
British Parliament are good damn example of how not to run a country.
Exactly.
I mean, they do a good job running the country into the ground.
Do you know what MP stands for?
Military police.
Masturbatus persistus. Bunch of fucking wankers.
Oh man.
I think they would get a lot more dating.
Yeah. But they do like a mass debate, don't they?
Don't all politicians?
That's what I mean. You know, it comes to something when you see an MP come away from his lunch break and he says, "Oh, I'm as full as a bishop's ball bag."
Well, head back to your master debates then.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm surprised that anything actually gets in the... And I can say that living here.
The only things that get done in the UK is taxes get paid and people like me sponge off them.
And the government is happy.
The government's always happy as long as they're fucking you over.
The only time the government is happy was when you're bent over a fucking fence with your hands cuffed to your ankles and your butt cheeks spread wide in the air so as I can come and take turns.
That's especially true with the Liberals, though.
Oh, fuck me, the Liberals will probably bend themselves over the fence and say, "Do you want to go, love?"
I mean, they've done that so many times in the pen.
The hairy fairy party.
Oh man. Oh man, Andy.
My local Lib Dem bloke come at the door looking for a vote a few years ago. I said, "Are you fucking real, mate? Do I look remotely fucking liberal to you?" He said, "Well, actually, you look a bit right wing." I'm saying right wing, left wing, middle wing. It's got fuck all to do with politics. I just cannot stand you scrounging bastards that don't want to know me the rest of the fucking 4 years.
Oh.
If a member of Parliament comes to the door and ask, "Are you real?" their answer should be, "I don't know, what time is it?"
If an MP comes to the door and knocks on my door, I shall do the same as I did with the last Jehovah's Witness. There's a bolt goes through my door to the inside that holds the door knocker on, and I'll tase it while I get hold of the fucker. He flew about 8 feet along the garden path and landed by the gate with a look of, "What the fuck was that?" on his face.
It's an act of God.
Went out there, "You're right, mate." He's laying on the floor with a bad dose of jerks and twitches.
Or you give them hot and spicy chocolate.
Yeah, I can give them some of that. I want to get some more of that for Halloween for when the little bastards come banging on the door. "Treat your treat, mister." Fuck off, have some chocolate.
Oh, I've known plenty of people who don't get along with trick-or-treaters. I just give them some advice.
Yeah,
Go to a second-hand shop, buy a chainsaw, take the chain off, and then rev it as the fuckers come to the door.
Yeah.
"Thank you, phone. What was that? An email?" Nothing important.
Someone texting you to say, "I can see you on your own stream. You're fired."
No, none of the guys I know would bother texting me because most of the guys I know actually subscribe to my channel, including your Anne, I believe. Oh, God.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tench, you write something in the chat and I'll make your day and I'll go and pollute it for you.
Oh.
I can't even know what friggin' window I'm in. Oh, that's right. I changed the window, didn't I?
Divine intervention day indeed, John. I tell you, mate, when I go toes up, I've been promised a special place in hell. And after I got comfy down there, there'll be a change in fucking leadership very quick.
And what would that price be?
Satan will get evicted and you'll take his place.
You'll get worse than evicted.
No, he'll get sent to England's Parliament.
About 10 years ago, he came to me in a dream and he said, "I want to buy your soul." So I sold it to him. 2 days later, he's back again. He says, "About your soul." I went, "No refunds." He went, "Yeah, it was all warped and twisted than I thought." "I told you, no refunds. Now, fuck off."
Why don't you send hot and spicy chocolate to your parliament?
Hey, there's a new one.
Look at that. Multiple pissants. That's a bit unfair on pissants, really, isn't it?
Relating anything to a politician is unfair.
Yes, the real love festival. Yeah, we can camp anywhere legally here in Sweden, yes.
Manic psychosis.
That can be accurate, actually. I mean, have you seen Boris Johnson? He looks like a British Donald Trump.
Thank you, Christine.
You've
Only
noticed
not
that as well.
talented.
I reckon Donald was over here about 40 years ago having a little fun on the side.
Okay, Dreamweaver.
Do you remember a news presenter called Selena Scott?
Thanks, Dreamweaver.
I don't know, because I didn't watch the news much when I was younger. I still don't watch it now, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't blame you. She was tasty though. You just had the volume off and sort of stared at her, you know, dribbling all the way through the news article. It might be
the problem
about
is now, even if you have
starvation in
volume off,
Africa or something like that, but you're just standing there drooling at the TV. She had to interview him for some British TV program, and he was on her like a fucking rabid dog, you know. And she ended up having to get a court injunction against him to get him to leave her alone. That is actual fact about Mr. Trump, the Ginga-Minga in the States.
Yeah, the only difference between Trump and British politicians is he actually gets more approval.
I'll tell you what, if the banks foreclosed on him for the amount of debt that he owes, it would probably bring America to its knees.
Well,
While it's down
hasn't he
there,
been?
I can walk up and say, open your mouth, love.
Well, hasn't he been bankrupt like 7 times or something along those lines?
Yeah, but he owes something, I forget the actual figure, it's something like several $100 billion.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it keep their black project going for a whole year.
The thing you got to ask about Donald Trump is, how do you go bankrupt 7 times? Because shouldn't you be broke after the first time?
Yeah, I agree. It should.
Like, it's bankruptcy. You're supposed to not have any money left at that point.
Yeah, but the weird thing is, back in 2009, when I had to pack up work, I had a ton of debt sitting over me, which whilst I was working was manageable. Yeah. The moment my income went down to £70 a week, I was fucked. So,
Yeah, sounds about right.
So I had to do a thing called a debt relief order. Now, a debt relief order costs you 90 quid. Yeah. So I had to leave it 6 months to get the 90 quid together. Once I got it together, I went to the insolvent or the citizens' advice. They'd done like an internet thing with the insolvency service. And as soon as I paid that 90 quid, my debts were frozen for a year. And if my financial situation hadn't improved after a year, they're wiped out by the insolvency service. Now, if I was to go bankrupt, I would have to pay 500 quid for the same thing. How the fuck do you find £500 if you're skinned?
Oh,
that makes no sense.
That makes about as much sense as a screen door on a submarine.
Or wet toilet paper.
No, I'm broke.
Wet toilet. The only thing wet toilet paper is good for is stopping people from biting their nails.
Can I pay you in toilet paper instead? 500 toilet paper.
How about toilet paper in
Yeah, I could go for that.
That was pretty good in their asses.
Miles without having to go into hospital.
Brings a whole new meaning to the term Ring of Fire.
Here's one for you.
Yeah.
I got in trouble with the missus the other week. She was really suffering bad with her period. She hadn't slept well for a few nights, so I gave her one of my sleeping pills and off she went to bed. And when I finally went to bed, there she is. She sort of curled up in the fetal position and there's this lump of string hanging out. And I thought, I know. And I very carefully removed it and I put a party popper in its place. I tell you, next morning I found out that woman's got no fucking sense of humour whatsoever.
A woman with a sense of humour, that's a rarity indeed.
Oh, man.
Yep, just go to the toilet, love. Pull, pot, bang.
It's another Saturday night. At least I think it's Saturday.
Yeah,
Yep, it's Saturday.
How old are you, Tenchi?
36.
36. I'm 54. Give it another 18 years and you'll be having prostate checks every month like me. Every time I go there, where do you want me to put my clothes? Over there, next to mine. So the fucking how do doctors do those exams with both hands on your shoulders at the same time? It's really fucking clever.
It could be worse. You could come out like an Evinrude.
Like an Evinrude. That's an outboard motor, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I stole that joke from the late Robin Williams. God, yeah, so
when they go in with a KY jelly and the fucking rubber glove that goes up to the shoulder, and you're like,
Sir, do I look like a horse?
Well, now you come to mention it.
Nah, Andy, you've got more of the horse look going on with the mohawk.
Yeah, I can't have long hair no more. I've got trapped nerve in my neck.
Well, Andy, he likes his mohawk.
You know, I only spike that once a week. Get a Viagra, crush it up in the hand, rub it in, and it's up on end all week.
You know, with how UK politics are, how does Billy Connolly survive?
They haven't found him yet.
He doesn't stand still long enough.
If you're like Trump, you have deals that work in big time. And now and then, some don't. It's an art to keep making big money. You have to back up the deal. Oh, I've had loads of backup deals when I was a kid working on the railway stations.
The one kind of person you don't want to see working on the railway is a knife maker. Because all those railroad spikes will go missing. Like, oh look, free knife material. Again, the problem with Brexit is there's not enough industry left in Britain anymore.
No, there ain't.
We outsourced it all.
Well, that is just about everything to do with government-run stuff. Don't take responsibility for yourself. Sub it out.
The same can be said with most landlords, though, because most landlords use subcontractors.
Okay, follow the blood.
But what's the problem with contractors? What is the problem with contractors? Well, it's in the name. Con.
Yeah.
Go and get your sleep.
Sleep?
Sleep?
Follow
What's that?
bloggers.
That's what I had this afternoon. I went a bit horizontal on the sofa just for an hour to survey the underside of my eyelids. 2 hours later, woke up feeling worse than before I went to sleep.
Well, the one thing you can guarantee, it's better than what's on TV.
Yeah.
Especially if it happens to be late. Oh, that explains why I was lagging a bit. I was looking at the wrong window.
Why am I talking but my mouth is still? I'm going to get a job as a ventriloquist. In fact, if you lift your right arm and go like that, you should be able to work your arm quite easily. Depending on whether he smiles or frowns, you'll know whether he likes it or not. Just do a little tickle on the way up.
Oh, god damn. Typical weekend. Though one thing's for certain, unlike YouTube, StreamYard does not crash.
Well, do you know
Maybe it's because it's not owned by Google yet.
Tenchi, do you know Sty North?
Don't think so.
Oh, right. He's a old fart with a broom for a beard. Fucking great big beard. Well, he's a great bloke, actually, but I like calling him an old fart. It's a term of endearment. We sat there.
It generally is.
We sat there on a private.
You fart more anyway.
Yeah. Well, it ain't the farting that's the worry, it's the lumps in the farts that get concerning. We sat there on a private live stream together.
I will be back in a sec.
That live stream went on 17 and a half hours.
Damn, that's a long live stream.
Yeah, that was just between the two of us, though. It was through YouTube and StreamYards, but it weren't airing live, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That was fucking great, because normally that bloke, it barely ever swears. But you get him face to face when he's on his own, is a right laugh.
Well, one thing we can be grateful for with politicians, they're easy for surgeons to fix because shit comes out of both ends.
Oh, yeah. I'd sooner just open the fucker up in the middle and let it flow out of there.
Well, there is one problem we've got if we do want to get rid of politicians. We can't put them anywhere that's got access to make hot air balloons. Oh, God. The amount of hot air comes out of British politicians.
Yeah. You could probably have a hot air balloon factory on the go there 24/7.
Yeah, I think you could have a hot air balloon the size of the Titanic and still fill it.
Yeah, it'd probably go the same way as the Titanic as well.
Welcome, Irvin.
Well, as long as the politicians go with it, wouldn't that be a good thing?
In the words of Kevin Bloody Wilson, political correctness does not exist. Because it was political.
There's a good fucking chance it's not correct, I think was the quote.
Yep. He's back in the UK later on this year.
Of course, I think I've actually got several of his CDs.
Yes, there's quite a collection under my lips.
Kevin Bloody Wilson, the one Australian artist you do not want to play in public. Unless you want to fucking laugh.
That name sounds familiar to me.
Such hit songs as Dilly Cat.
He's got tender little love songs like "Do You Fuck on First Dates?" "Does Your Dad Own a Brewery?" "Should I feel your tits, or would you show them to me?" If the answer is no to the questions above, then be a good mate and give us a number of a girlfriend who does.
There's also Super Mega Fugly.
Yeah, the well hung young goat fucker from Kalgoorlie.
That's actually a good one. You can't say cunt in Canada.
Yeah,
why the fuck not?
I've had an absolute cunt of a day.
The kiddie swears a little bit.
Tell my doctor to treat others as you want to be treated. She took off the gloves. Good thing for me, she's a lesbian. I'm a lesbian, mate. I know for a fact I am a lesbian trapped in a man's body. I sat there for 24 hours watching lesbian films, and I'll tell you what, there wasn't one fucking thing happening in there that wouldn't be happening in this room here.
That's a direct Kevin Bloody Wilson reference right there.
Yep. Well, the one where he goes to Belconnen, sorry, for a meal.
That was a good one.
Looks like he felt conked in some fucker's tackle box.
Yep, cunt up in the tackle box. Great big fucking diesel dyke. He said, not like you ladies in the audience. He said, I'm on about like 40 stone in weight, fucking tits down to her knees. Not even tits worth perving over, like a pair of football socks with a bit of sand in the end.
2 inches taller, she would have been perfectly fucking round, I reckon.
That's it. He said, and she's a vegetarian, which if that's how you want to fuel your body, then no problem. But she's staunch vegetarian. Her food turns up. She's got hay and alfalfa and fucking this and that. And she's forking it down. And just about then my steak turns up. She said, "Do you know how that poor thing died?" And he said, "Yeah, you fucking starved it to death, you fat cunt."
Fucking brilliant comedian.
I tell you,
Brilliant.
if you get the chance, Tench, you really should go and see him live.
Oh, that is one thing I would love to do.
Yes, I'm a window licker. I also munch on rugs, as Bradley will tell you.
I mean, I can't think of one bad Kevin Bloody Wilson song.
No. Santa was stoned at Christmas. How did he get that high? And what's he feeding them reindeers on to make the bastards fly? Or the other one from the elves, ho ho fucking ho.
Oh, I've actually got a friend in Sweden who actually loves that fucking song.
Ho,
And every time the Christmas season rolls around, if we're like chatting on Discord or something, or playing Warcraft, which I do occasionally, I whack that song right on as loud as it'll fucking go. Another good one, Dilligaff.
Do I look like I give a fuck?
Which sums up my opinion.
D-I-F, Dilligaff.
Sums up my opinion of how the politicians do their jobs.
It's just another way of saying
that thing sounds familiar to me too.
Then there's dictaphone.
You can stick that fucking phone up your fucking ass.
I used to have that as a ringtone, actually. Actually, when I had that as a ringtone, I was actually still in school.
It's about a bloke with a speech impediment trying to talk to the operator. You're supposed to fucking help, not fucking laugh. So you can stick that fucking phone right up your fucking ass.
If Billy Connolly was a musician, he would be Kevin Bloody Wilson.
Actually, that would make a wonderful stage double act.
Yeah, one turns the air blue and the other sings it blue.
Yeah. I mean, what the fuck are you talking about, mate? A fucking job. You want to just say you had a shit.
I don't know if you've actually seen this Billy Connolly skit, but the suicide bomber instructor skit
No.
that he done. If you ever get a chance, look that up on YouTube because it is fucking funny. And nothing's come to Glasgow.
Glasgow.
To me, that seems a bit fucking redundant. Anyone who's seen Glasgow will know that that's redundant in some parts of Glasgow.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
But yeah,
10 years old when I went to Glasgow.
And Kevin Bloody Wilson, yeah.
Yeah, I might as well have gone to out of Mongolia. I couldn't understand a fucking word they were saying to me.
Even Google Translate can't figure that shit out.
Well, it don't do too well on any other language either. Would you like
Google
sugar
Translate can't even translate English from what I've read.
Well, there's English and there's American English, and the two are entirely different.
Yeah, American English gets straight to the point.
When I went to Florida, you should have seen the fucking hassle and attention I got when I walked in a shop and asked for a couple of packets of fags.
Yeah, you want to go down to the local bar for that?
Yeah.
You want a couple of packets of fags? Then you should be down the gay bar, mate.
Yeah, go on, go and have a piss in the toilets. There's a little 3-foot-high midget in there with a fucking studded leather thong on. He'll help you go for a leak.
Oh.
And like Sty says, there's always someone offering to help push a stool in for you.
Yeah, and usually they work for the government.
What is it Kevin called them? Limp-wristed, leather-clad, tail-gunning, donut-punching fucking freaks.
It's hard to remember every good line from Kevin Bloody Wilson for one simple reason. There's too fucking many of them.
Yes and no. It could also be argued there's not enough.
And there is also not enough.
Yeah.
Are you getting high now, Christine?
What lucky bastard's getting high?
Reverend Christine.
Christine.
She says, I'm smoking pot right now. Good stuff.
I've got some very small little postage stamps in my fridge if you want to come around and share those.
Ollie and Olga. That's another good one.
Ollie and Olga. That's the one with the yodeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a few CDs. One of my housemate burnt for me. 20 Years of Kev, which is a double album. Oh, My Australian Roots. That's a fucking good one. That's the one with Ollie and Olga on it. What other one have I got here?
Let Loose Live in the Outback. Let Loose Live in London.
Lovable Larking, Kevin Bloody Wilson. I think that's from one of his UK tours, to be honest.
One of the oldest and first ones I ever heard from him was, because I've got a tongue that's 10 inches long and I've learned to breathe through my ears.
Oh, the Truckies Kid, that's another one. That's on the Dilly Gaff album.
That's the one who's also got the, I don't know if it's called The Builder, but it's about a young kid on a building site.
Yeah, I know the one you're on about. I can't remember if that's on this one or another one of them. It might have been on one of the other ones. Manuel the Bandito, stack a fridge and stoke the bomb.
Bandito, you get down, you lift it burro's tail and you give it a kiss on the ass, yes?
I know the one you mean about the kid on the building, but I can't remember what it's fucking called though.
Because it ain't the kid he swears a bit, that's the one with the school teacher.
Yeah, that's the one with the school teacher.
You're supposed to be the gun, go ring the cunt yourself.
Last Lager Waltz. Oh, Jesus Christ, that's a classic.
In the last Lager Waltz.
Feather Brain Championship. That's the one with them having a brawl in the bar. Jesus, I can't remember what that bloody song was called. Oh, then there's Disgraceland with frigging Grandad in it.
Christine, do you know why it was called LSD 25? Not so much
Because
the LSD, 25. There was only 25 micrograms in each drop. My little postage stamps are 330s. Made by a very good friend. It didn't charge me too much for them.
Oh, jeez.
Damn small print on these CDs.
I'm like that with the headlines on a newspaper.
Absolute cunt of a day. Nope, that's not it.
I've had an absolute cunt of a day. Everything that could go did go wrong. So if I'm allowed to use the word cunt in the song, I've had an absolute cunt of a day. It started as a fart in bed. It started as a fart, but I shit myself instead. And the fucking missus going off her fucking head.
God damn it. Who the hell printed these? Oh, yeah, my housemate did.
That was the
The
good
Builder.
thing about...
That's the name of the song, The Builder. It's on this one.
Right.
Which is My Australian Roots. Oh, and let us not forget Amazing Grass.
Amazing grass, how
that actually
sweet.
might be quite relevant given the chat just a minute ago.
Yeah.
Where do you get all these songs from, Andy?
Pardon?
Where do you get all these songs from?
Kevin Bloody Wilson.
And you remember all of them?
I've been listening to him for about as long as he's been going. My first recording of Kevin Bloody Wilson was on an old cassette, long before CDs ever came out.
Actually, the first time I actually heard Kevin Bloody Wilson was actually a song that's hard to find now. I can't remember the fucking name of it. The one that involved the mayor of Hiroshima and the bombs.
Oh, Mayor of Hiroshima, when a bomb went off. What was the last thing he said? Oh, what a fuck of that!
Yeah, but I can't remember the name of the song, but that was the first song I heard, and I heard that when I was about 12 years old. And I just fucking cracked up laughing.
Oh, that weren't the one. Chop, chop, where he's talking about
or something.
down all the fucking trees and chipping them up and selling them to the Japanese to wipe their little yellow freckles with as toilet paper.
Kevin Bloody Wilson, unfortunately, does not have a big enough music library.
Oh, his music.
It only takes me 4 or 5 hours to listen to everything.
Go on YouTube. He's got his own channel.
Yeah, I know.
If you find any little dodgy white stains hanging down the sides of the fucking screen, I'll be honest, I'll put my hand up to it, all right?
There needs to be more artists like Kevin Bloody Wilson out there.
Well, not
I would love to.
Would
I would love
Britain
to see
be any worse?
Current events.
Would Britain be any worse off if he came over here and took over Parliament?
Oh.
Well, actually, no, I think we'd be better off if he took over Parliament. For starters, he might get rid of the tax on booze.
Yeah. And
Probably
there's
get rid of
also
the
his
tax on
song, The
tobacco.
Local. Forget not the song, The Local.
Yeah, I've got that one.
The local docks are drunkard. The local priests are puff. No, it ain't. The local docks are drunkard.
The local priest likes little boys' bums, and the local cops are cunt.
That's it. Who's the puff? The local docks are drunkard. The local something's a puff. The local priest likes little boys' bums.
I'll have to listen to that song again to answer that.
Yeah, it's fucking bugging me now. Though. I should be listening to that before I go to bed.
I know, it's the local barber's a fucking butcher.
The local butcher's full of flies.
Who the fuck was the puff?
I see no proof.
Maybe it was the local mayor. I don't know. Because the local mayor gets in there as well. And you go, what was that other one he had out on the Spinnerpegs Flats?
I wonder if it was the local chef's a puffter.
Yeah.
I think it was the local chef's a puffter.
Drunkard. The local chef's a puff. Yeah, it could be. It fits.
I consider myself as a prepper.
You'll probably get done for a copyright strike now because we've been trying to figure out lyrics to a song.
The good thing is that nobody copyright flags Kevin Bloody Wilson because he's too foul-mouthed.
That's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong. I played some of one of his songs in the background when I was a guest on one of Sty's streams, and they fucking copyright hit it.
Wow.
I only done about 20 seconds, and they fucking hit the bastard for copyright. And he looked at who was getting the copyright benefits out of it, and he said, well, he's all right. I don't mind that.
If only you could have someone like Kevin Bloody Wilson or Billy Connolly take over Parliament.
Now that would make a good New World Order.
Yeah, reading.
New World Disorder. Joran, are you a survivalist prepper or a prepper survivalist, whichever way around it was?
Prepper survivalist.
I consider myself as a prepper. But you have a little bit.
I would call myself a storeman. If shit hit the fan, the power went out, and the shops ran out of food, etc., I would be one of the first to go. However, my kids know how to get into my house, and they know where all the stored up food is kept. So although I wouldn't survive it, I would help them too.
Well, guys, I think
You're pissed off.
I think we begin to shut down this now. My cough getting worse. My cough getting worse, so
No worries, mate.
I feel that I
What you want is a nice wire brush, a little bit of meth, and just scrape your throat out with a wire brush and meth. So I promise you'll feel better in the morning. Kind of.
Christ, I'm pretty sure there's a welder's wire brush in a Kevin Bloody Wilson song, actually.
Yeah,
That might have been Feather Brain Championship. Ah, Jesus. I swear, if someone done a live stream based on Kevin Bloody Wilson, it'd probably have to be Andy to do it. Because he seems to know every single track.
have a great
I'm
day.
just a sad old fuck that's got too much time on his hands.
There's no such thing as too much time on your hands, because when you're working, you complain that there's not enough.
There is such a thing as too much time on your hands. Have you seen the fucking calluses on my knob? What was you saying, Aaron? Yeah, well, let's get Aaron go and have a rest.
Yeah, I need some
Right,
rest.
take a handful of drugs, half a bottle of whiskey, and I promise you'll feel right as rain next week.
I don't have any whiskey at home, so
No, just
the wife out.
pop down the state-sponsored off license and get some aquavit instead.
But anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having us, mate.
Take care, you're right.
Yeah, take care, Tenchi. And you too, Andy.
Oh, I do, mate. I definitely do.
I will see you next week.
Well, do, mate. You take care, and I hope you feel better soon.
Or wherever you show up.
Yeah, a bit like a bad rash at an STD clinic.
Yeah, he always turns up somewhere.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, I'll see you guys around. I've got to try and get a little bit of a video recorded myself.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And now you
doing
got
some
to
more
try
testing with one of my cameras. The one behind me, in fact, there. Going to test out the night mode on that and see how it works. So I'll see you guys later.
Indeed. Take care, Tanky.
Will do. Take care, guys.
Will do. See you later, Aaron. Take care, mate. See you later, everybody. Hitting the button now.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I have to shut down now, so my cough getting worse, so I will not be much as speaker for a moment. So, and it hurts in my chest when I cough, so I need some rest. But thanks for stopping by, guys. That means a lot to me. And I will see you in the next stream. And thanks, Andy.